In the quiet halls of ancient philosophy, a truth emerges that challenges everything modern society tells us about connection and worth. The Stoics understood something profound, that the path to becoming magnetic begins not with seeking others, but with mastering yourself. Picture the philosopher Epictetus, once a slave, later a teacher whose words would echo through centuries. He lived much of his life alone, not from necessity, but from choice. He discovered what many fear to learn, that solitude is not emptiness, but the forge where true strength is shaped. The ancient Stoics believed that most people flee from silence because it forces them to confront the one person they cannot escape themselves. In the marketplace of Athens, in the forums of Rome, people filled their days with noise and distraction. The pattern remains unchanged today. We scroll through endless feeds, chase fleeting validation, surround ourselves with noise, anything to avoid sitting with our own thoughts. But here lies the paradox that transforms everything. The moment you stop running from yourself is the moment you begin to attract what you truly deserve. The Stoic practice of solitude was not about isolation. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, surrounded by thousands, still found time each day to retreat inward. The Stoics taught that our worth is not determined by our relationships, our social standing, or the approval we receive. The ancient philosophers noticed something else. Those who had mastered themselves naturally attracted respect and admiration, not because they sought it, but precisely because they didn't need it. There's a magnetic quality to self-sufficiency that draws others in. Consider Cato the Younger, the Roman statesman renowned for his unwavering principles. Solitude provides the training ground for this mastery. Away from the constant stimulation of social interaction, you learn to observe your thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. You develop the capacity to choose your response rather than being swept along by impulse. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. The Stoics valued deep friendships and meaningful connections, but they understood that healthy relationships can only be built by people who are whole in themselves. When you're complete on your own, you can connect with others from strength rather than neediness. The transformation that occurs in solitude creates a shift others can sense even before you speak. The Stoics called this auctoritas a natural authority that comes not from position or force, but from inner strength. When you've spent time truly knowing yourself, when you've developed clarity about your values and purpose, it changes how you move through the world. Your decisions become more deliberate, your boundaries become clearer, your presence becomes more grounded. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should waste no more time arguing what a good person should be one. This principle transforms everything. Instead of seeking to appear valuable, you focus on becoming valuable. Instead of trying to impress others, you work on impressing yourself by living according to your principles. This shift has profound effects. People naturally respect those who have clear standards and maintain them consistently. When you stop bending yourself to fit others' expectations, when you refuse to compromise your values for approval, something unexpected happens. You become more attractive, not less. The ancient philosophers observed that desperation repels while self-sufficiency attracts. When your happiness depends on getting something from others, their attention, approval, or affection, you unconsciously communicate neediness. But when you're content in yourself, when you found peace in your own company, that contentment becomes magnetic. Seneca advised his students to examine their lives carefully, to identify what truly matters and eliminate everything else. This ruthless prioritization is only possible when you've spent time in solitude, when you've had the space to think clearly about your goals and values without the constant noise of others' opinions. The longer you practice this, the more your standards naturally rise. You stop tolerating behavior that disrespects you. You stop accepting relationships that drain rather than energize you. You become more selective not because you're arrogant, but because you understand your own worth. This selectivity itself becomes attractive. The Stoics knew that rarity creates value when you're willing to walk away from situations that don't serve your growth. When you're comfortable being alone rather than settling for less than you deserve, others take notice. The philosopher Zeno founded Stoicism, teaching in the Stoa Poikile, the painted porch in Athens. Students came to him not because he advertised or promoted himself, but because his wisdom and self-mastery attracted those genuinely seeking truth. He didn't chase students, his depth drew them to him. This same principle applies to all relationships. When you've done the work of becoming whole in yourself, you attract people who appreciate your authentic self rather than a performance designed to please them. Your relationships become based on genuine connection rather than mutual neediness. The Stoics emphasized that this journey requires courage. It takes strength to face yourself honestly, to acknowledge your flaws and work on them without the distraction of seeking others' approval. It takes discipline to maintain your standards even when compromise seems easier. But the rewards are profound. You develop an unshakable sense of self-worth that is undependent on circumstances or others' treatment of you. You build a life aligned with your values rather than shaped by external pressures. You become truly free. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. This is the ultimate insight of Stoic solitude, that everything you need to thrive already exists within you when you fully grasp this truth. When you stop seeking completion in others and recognize that you're already whole, your entire life transforms. You move through the world with quiet confidence. You make decisions from clarity rather than fear. You attract naturally rather than chase desperately. The ancient Stoics discovered that the path to becoming magnetic is paradoxically, it begins by turning away from the crowd and toward yourself. In that solitude, in that honest confrontation with who you are and who you want to become, you forge the strength that others find compelling. This is not about avoiding relationships or shutting yourself off from human connection. It's about building such a strong foundation within yourself that any relationship you choose to form comes from abundance rather than scarcity, from choice rather than necessity. The longer you practice this Stoic approach to solitude and self-mastery, the more you realize that you were searching outside yourself for something that could only be found within. And in finding it, you become the person others naturally want to know, not because you need them to, but because authenticity and self-possession are rare and valuable in any age.